Blessing Christian Lifestyle. We're going to read John chapter 9. John chapter 9. All right, let's get right into it. Now, as Jesus passed by, he saw a man who was blind from birth, and the disciples asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? All right, so the assumption is, hey, this person must have been doing bad. That's why he is blind. All right, don't fall for that. All right. He's not blind because he sinned or his parents sinned. All right. So what is Jesus going to say? What is he going to say? He's going to say, Jesus answered, neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of God should be revealed in him. I must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. The night is coming when no one can work. So Jesus, like, this person is blind because pretty much it's going to be used to glorify God. All right. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had said these things, he spat on the ground and made clay with his saliva, and he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay. So he spit, right? So he spat on the ground, spits on the ground, grabs the clay, puts it in the man's eyes. So he went and washed, and it says, the blind man, he anointed the eyes of the blind man with clay. And he said to him, Go wash in the pool of Siloam. All right. So he went and washed and came back seeing. So he went to go wash his eyes out, and all of a sudden he had vision. All right. Therefore, the neighbors and those who previously had seen that he was blind said, Is not this he who sat and begged? So this blind person can now see. All right. Jesus healed him with clay. He anointed his eyes with the clay and told him to go wash it off. All right. Therefore they said to him, How were your eyes open? He answered and said, A man called Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes and said to me, Go to the pool of Siloam and wash. So now people want to know, I thought you were blind. Like, what happened? And he tells them, Hey, Jesus, he washed my face with clay and he told me to go wash them in the pool of Siloam. So I went and washed and I received sight. So he told him exactly how he received sight. Then they said to him, Where is he? He said, I do not know. So Jesus healed and they do not believe. They brought him for they brought him who formerly was blind to the Pharisees. Now it was the Sabbath when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Then the Pharisees also asked him again how he had received his sight. He said to them, He put clay on my eyes and I washed and see. So he's explaining himself like, Hey, how did you get your vision back? Hey, he put clay in my eyes and now I can see. So physically, that doesn't make any sense. All right. But like I said, he anointed the oil, he anointed his eyes. All right. Therefore, some of the Pharisees said, This man is not from God. They do not want to declare Jesus is from God because he does not keep the Sabbath. Others said, How can a man who is a sinner do such signs? And there was a division among them. Man, that is huge, right? So they don't want to claim Jesus Christ as the Messiah. They're just denying everything. They said to the blind man, Again, what do you say about him? Because he opened your eyes. He said, He is a prophet. It's like, what do you say? He's a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him that he had been blind and received the sight until they called the parents of him who had received this sight. So it's like, all right, let's go call his parents and talk to the parents. And they asked them, saying, Is this your son who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? So he was blind, now he can see. His parents answered them and said, We know that this is our son and that he was born blind. He was medically born blind. But by what means he now sees, we do not know, or who opened his eyes. We do not know. He is of age. Ask him. Like, hey, he's a grown man. Ask him. He will speak for himself. His parents said these things because they feared the Jews, for the Jews had agreed already that if anyone confessed that he was Christ, he would be put out of the synagogue. So it's like, all right, tell us how did you get your vision back? And don't tell us that it was from, it says here, that it was from this Jesus who claims to be Christ. All right. He would put out the synagogue. Therefore, his parents said, He is of age, ask him. All right, so now he's going to tell them exactly what happened and what he believes. So they again called the man who was blind and said to him, "Give God the glory. We know that this man is a sinner." He answered and said, "Whether he is a sinner or not, I do not know. One thing I know, that though I was blind, now I see." Hey, I was once blind, now I can see. All right, that's what he's claiming here. Jesus healed him, and that's what he's claiming. Then they said to him again, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" He answered them, "I told you already, and you did not listen. Why do you want to hear it again? Do you also want to become his disciple?" So like, hey, can you explain again what happened? It's like, why? I already explained it. Like, I kept explaining it. Why do you want me to keep explaining it? All right, how's it going? Thank you very much for being on. All right, I'm reading John chapter 9. All right, the book of John chapter 9. Then they reviled him and said, "You are his disciples, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spoke to Moses. As for the fellow, we do not know where he is from." The man answered and said to them, "Why, this is marvelous thing that you do not know where he is from, yet he has opened my eyes. Now we know that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, he hears them. Do the will of God." All right. Do the will of God. All right. Do the will of God. That's all I'm saying here. Do the will of God. All right. How's it going? Thank you for being on. The man answered and said to them, "Why, this is a marvelous thing that you do not know where he is from, yet he has opened my eyes. Now we know that God does not hear sinners, but if anyone is a worshiper of God and does his will, he hears him. Worship God." How's it going? Thank you very much for being on. Please subscribe. Please like. All right. Help me out. Since the world began, it has been unheard of that anyone opened the eyes of one who has been born blind. If this man was not from God, he could do nothing. They answered and said to him, "You were completely born in sins and are teaching us." And they cast him out. Hey, how's it going? Hi, we're listening. Hayes, how's it going? Thank you very much. Haven't seen you on here before. Huh. How's it going? Thank you very much for being on. Yeah, I'm reading the book of John, chapter 9. All right, so Jesus just healed this person, and they kept asking him, "How exactly were you healed?" And they kept saying, "Hey, can you tell us again how you were healed?" And like, "Hey, I already told you that." And he put dirt in my eyes, he anointed my eyes, and then he told me to wash them in the pool of Siloam. All right, and then again ask him, "So who was this man, and what exactly did he do?" It's like, "I already told you." So he just keeps repeating himself. They don't want to believe. All right, they just do not want to believe. Here we go. And then they're saying, "Oh well, he's not from God. He must not be from God." And they're just trying to find any rebuttal of for Jesus. Like, hey, he is not from God. All right, here we go. Jesus heard that they had cast him out, and when he had found him, he said to him, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" So that's the main question. Do you believe in the Son of God? Do you believe in the Son of God? He answered and said, "Who is he, Lord, that I may believe in him?" And Jesus said to him, "You have both seen him, and it is he who is talking with you." He's right there in front of you, Jesus Christ. All right. So he asked him, "Do you believe in the Son of God?" Like straightforward. "Do you believe in the Son of God?" And he's like, "Who is he?" "You have both seen him, and it is he who is talking with you." Then he said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshiped him. That's all it took for him to believe. He's like, "Hey, I believe." Right? It didn't take much persuasion. He already been healed, and he just believed. Then he said, "Lord, I believe," and worshiped him. And Jesus said, "For judgment I have come into this world, that those who do not see may see, and those who see may be made blind." Then some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words and said to him, "Are we blind also?" So yeah, it's kind of a backhand comment. Jesus had said, and that those who see, those who physically can see, may be made blind. And then somebody overheard them and said, Some of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words and said to him, "Are we blind also?" The answer is yes, they are blind. All right, here Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you say, 'We see, therefore your sin remains.' Most assuredly I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfolds by the door, but climbs up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber." You have to go through Jesus. All right. "But he who enters by the door and the shepherd of the sheep, to him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out." Jesus is letting people in. All right. Walk in through the door. Don't try to walk around it. Don't try to jump across. That's what he's saying. And when he brings out his own sheep, the children of Israel, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. Do you know God's voice? Do you know Jesus' voice? All right. Yet they will by no means follow a stranger, but will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. Know the voice of Jesus. Jesus used this illustration, but they did not understand the things which he spoke. So they didn't understand. Then Jesus said to them again, "Most surely I say to you that I am the door of the sheep. All whoever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep do not hear them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture." You got to go in through Jesus. All right. You got to go in through Jesus. So it says here, "I am the door of the sheep. All who come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep do not hear them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, will be saved and will go in and out of the fine pastures. The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. But a hireling, he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf catches the sheep and scatters them." All right. How's it going? Thank you very much for being on. How's it going? All right. There we go. There we go. Yeah, all right. "I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep, and I am known by my own. As the Father knows me, even so I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold." Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. All right, here we go. Sorry, watching my daughter as well. All right, here we go. Therefore, my chapter 10, verse 17. "Therefore, my Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it again. No one takes it from me." Sorry, my daughter wanted to keep bathing. All right, here we go. Therefore, my Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again. This command I have received from my Father. All right, foreshadow, Jesus is going to rise again. All right, this is very, very important. I'm going to read this one more time. No one, therefore, my Father loves me. Jesus talking, "because I lay down my life that I may take it again." He's laying down his life, but he's going to take it again. I'm going to rise. "No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of myself." All right. I have power to lay it down, and I have power to take it again, to take his life again. This command I have received from my Father. All right. Resurrection power. All right. Therefore, there was a division among the Jews because of these sayings. So the Jews were like, is he the Christ or is he not? And many of them said, "He has a demon and is mad. Why do you listen to him?" Others said, "These are not the words of one who as a demon. So there's a division. All right. There's a division. After all these words, after seeing Jesus, there is a division. To this day, there's still a division. All right. Was Jesus a prophet or was he the Messiah? Is he the Christ? He is the Christ. All right. He proves it. All right. And then he said, can a demon open the eyes of the blind? So again, with the opening of the eyes. Now it was a feast of dedication in Jerusalem, and it was winter, and Jesus walked in the temple and Solomon's porch. Then the Jews surrounded him and said to him, how long do you keep us in doubt? If you are the Christ, tell us plainly. All right, tell us once and for all, you're the Christ. Jesus answered them, I told you, and you do not believe. The works I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But you do not believe because you are not of my sheep. As I said to you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them eternal, and they shall never perish, neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. All right. Very, very important. It says here, I told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear. So, what is the witness? What is the proof that he is who he says he is? I do the works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But you do not believe because you are not of my sheep, and said, as I said to you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give them eternal life, forever, live forever, and they shall never perish. Right? To be saved, there you go. Neither shall anyone snatch them out of my hand. So they're not going to snatch you out of his hand. My Father who has given them to me is greater than all, and no one is able to snatch them out of my Father's hand. I and my Father are one. All right, man, yeah, that's a lot. Jesus and the Father are one. All right, that's what he says. Then the Jews took up stones again to stone him. So again, they're trying to get rid of Jesus here, trying to get rid of him, just like a lot of people. Like to this day, they're trying to get rid of him. They took up stones, ready to stone him physically. Jesus answered them, many good works I have shown you from my Father. For which of those do you stone me? For which of those are you going to throw rocks at me? The Jews answered him, saying, for a good work we do not stone you, but for blasphemy, and because you, being a man, make yourself God. We're going to throw rocks at you because you're saying that you're God. All right. Jesus answered them, is it not written in the law? I said, you are gods, little g. If he called them gods, little g, to whom the word of God came, the scriptures cannot be broken. Do you say of him who the Father sanctified and sent into the world, you are blaspheming because I said I am the Son of God? If I do not do the works of my Father, do not believe. So if you really don't believe that I'm the Son of God and you don't believe my works, like, hey, I'm don't believe me if I don't do the works. That's what it's saying here. If I do not do works of my Father, then don't believe me. But if I do, though you do not believe me, believe the works that you may know and believe that the Father is in me. All right. And I in him. All right. The Father is in Jesus, and he in him. They go together. All right. Therefore, they sought again to seize him, but he escaped out of their hands. They can't put their hands on Jesus. Like they literally can't. All right. Because it is not his time. It's not until he gets crucified. So, some important things here is he says here, believe in the works that you may know and believe that the Father is in me and I in him. All right. And over here, chapter 10, verse 30, he says, I and my Father are one. I and the Father are one. All right. And that's after they ask him, are you the Christ? He says, I and the Father are one. So huge. Therefore, they sought again. All right, here we go. Verse 40. How's it going, by the way? Thank you very much for being on. Please subscribe. Please like. Really appreciate your time. All right. Thank you very much. Just reading some John chapter 10. I'm about to finish chapter 10. Probably gonna read some chapter 11. See how many people I get on. but we'll keep on going. All right. Thank you very much. Please like, please subscribe. All right, here we go. And he went again beyond the Jordan to the place where John was baptizing at first, and there he stayed. Then many came to him and said, John performed no sign, but other things that John spoke above this man were true, and many believed in him. So, like, hey, remember John the Baptist? And then he says, many believed in him there. All right, now a certain, chapter 11. Now a certain man named Lazarus, all right, here we go. All right, here we go. And here we go. All right. Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and his sister Martha. It was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore the sisters sent to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, the sickness is not unto the death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. So again, God's going to be glorified, all right, through the sickness, actually through his death. All right. Now, Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. So he's going to make sure, like, all right, I know he's going to pass away. I want to make sure I'm nowhere near when he passes away because he has other things that are going to happen. He's like, hey, he's going to raise him from the dead. Remember Lazarus. Then after he said to his disciples, let us go to Judea again. The disciples said to him, Rabbi, lately the Jews sought to stone you, and you are going there again? It's like, hey, we're going back. Or hey, they do not like Jesus at this moment. Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in a day? If anyone walks in a day, he does not stumble because he sees the light of his world. But if one walks in the night, he stumbles because the light is not in him. These things he said, and after that he said to them, our friend Lazarus sleeps, but I go that I may wake him up. So he's going to go raise Lazarus from the dead. Then his disciples said, Lord, if he sleeps, he will get well. However, Jesus spoke of his death, but they thought that he was speaking about taking rest and sleep. Then Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead. Like, no, Lazarus is dead. All right. Yeah, I said he was asleep. By sleep, I meant that he was dead. All right. So he says, then Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead. All right. You're not getting it. I am glad for your sakes that I was not there, that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him. Then Thomas, who is called the twin, said to the fellow disciples, let us also go, that we may die with him. Here we go. So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. Lazarus had been in 4 days. Now, Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brothers. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Even now, I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, your brother will rise again. By the way, your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. All right. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. Right? And whoever lives and believes me shall never die. Do you believe this? All right. If you believe in Jesus, you will not die. And it says, do you believe this? She said to him, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God who is to come into the world. All right. That's salvation. That's all you really got to say. All right. And believe. She said to him, yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God who is to come in the world. All right. And when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, the teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in a place where Martha met him. All right. Thank you very much for being on. Please like, please subscribe. We're on John chapter 15, verse 31. Lazarus is about to be raised from the dead. All right. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, followed her, saying, she is going to the tomb to weep there. Then when Mary came where Jesus was and he saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Right? Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled, and he said, where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, see how he loved him. And some of them said, cannot this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? So, wouldn't he be able to keep people from dying? That's what they're saying amongst themselves. Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was the cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, take away the stone, move the stone away. Martha and the sister of him who was dead said to him, Lord, by this time there is a stench, for he has been dead 4 days. Like it smells. He's been dead for 4 days. Jesus said to her, did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? All right, you're about to see the glory of God here. Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying, and Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank that you have heard me. And I know that you always hear me, but because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me. Lord, please let this happen so they know that you sent me. That's what Jesus is saying here. All right. That's what he's saying. Now, when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. All right. Very specific. Lazarus, come forth. And he who had died came out bound hand, foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with clothes. Jesus said to them, loose him and let him go. So he's all wrapped up, kind of mummified. It says here, he was wrapped with a cloth. It says his hands were bound and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. So he was wrapped with a cloth in his face. Jesus said, loose him and let him go. Then many of the Jews who had come to Mary and had seen the things Jesus did believed in him, but some of them went away to the Pharisees and told them the things Jesus did. That's huge. So they went back and told them, hey, Jesus just rose somebody from the dead. Like, I don't know if y'all know that or not. And he is proving that he is who he says he is, the Son of God. He comes from heaven, he comes from God. He's proving that. He literally just raised somebody from the dead. All right. And he says, then the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered a council and said, what shall we do? For this man works many signs. Like, how are we going to put a stop to this? How are we going to put a stop to Jesus? If we let him alone like this, everyone will believe in him, and the Romans will come and take away both our place, nation, and one of them, Caiaphas, being the high priest that year, said to them, you know nothing at all, nor do you consider that it's expedient for us that one man should die for the people and not the whole nation should perish. Hey, we just want one person to die here. We don't want the whole nation to perish. We don't want the Romans to turn on us. That's what he's saying. And not for the nation only, but also that he would gather together in one of the children of God who were scattered abroad. Then from that day on, they plotted to put him to death. So after Lazarus rose, they're like, we got to plot Jesus' death. Like, it's time to plot. We got to get rid of Jesus. We got to get rid of Jesus. Therefore, Jesus no longer walked openly among the Jews, but went from there into the country near the wilderness to a city called Ephraim, and there remained with his disciples. So Jesus no longer hanging out publicly. He did everything he was to do, and now he's just waiting for his time. Man, that is huge. That is huge. But like we see here, they're trying to get rid of Jesus. There's to this day, they're still trying to get rid of his word. They're still trying to get rid of everything. All right. Here we go. And the Passover of the Jews was near, and many went from the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then they saw Jesus and spoke among themselves as they stood in the temple. What do you think? That he will not come to the feast? Now, both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given command that if anyone knew where he was, he should report it, and they might seize him. So the word is out. If you see Jesus, report it so we may go get him. All right. Man, that is huge. All right. That is huge. So Jesus just rose Lazarus from the dead. All right. Um, Here we go. Raise him from the dead. Is that the last enemy? All right. Jesus had healed a man's eyes who was blind from birth. All right. And he explains to the Pharisees, like, hey, this man, he healed me. And they're like, how did he heal you? How exactly did he heal you? And are you sure you were blinded from birth? It's like, yes, I'm sure. All right. So he's working these miracles still. But now Jesus is not going to work his miracles anymore. Hey, they're looking to kill him now. They're plotting to kill Jesus now. All right. So that's what's going on. The Pharisees are angry. They're mad. They feel like they've been shown up. They feel like, who is this person? He must be a demon. He must be this. People follow him. Like, hey, we have to put the word out that if anyone sees him, they are to report him and turn him over. All right. So they're trying to find a way to get Jesus. All right. But they don't want to create a huge stir. So that's what's going on here. There's so much, man. So much plotting here. They're plotting against Jesus. A lot of foreshadowing. All right. So here we go. Chapter 12, John chapter 12. Who's here? Who's here? Thank you very much for being on. All right. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Please like, please subscribe. All right. I'm going to read chapter 12. Where y'all coming from, by the way? I am in Texas. All right. All right. Here we go. Then 6 days before the Passover. All right. So we're waiting for the Passover here. Jesus came to Bethany where Lazarus was, who had been dead, whom he had raised from the dead. There they made him supper, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of those who sat at the table with them. Then Mary took a pound of. So Lazarus having dinner. They're having they're having the Passover. All right. Then Mary took a pound of very costly oil of spikenard, anointed the feet of Jesus, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with fragrance of oil. She used a very expensive perfume to clean Jesus' feet with her hair. So imagine a super expensive perfume. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, Simon's son who would betray him, said, why was this fragrant oil not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor? This he said, not that he cared for the poor, but because he was a thief and had the money box, and he used to take what he put in it. All right. So it's like, why didn't we sell this expensive perfume and donate it to the poor? Knowing that, hey, we're going to sell it and I'm going to skim some money off of that expensive perfume money. But Jesus said, let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. It's like, burial? What are you talking about, burial? He's preparing to give his life. For the poor you have with you always, but me you do not always have. Now, a great many of the Jews knew that he was there, and they came not for Jesus' sake only, but that they might also see Lazarus, whom he had raised from the dead. But the chief priests plotted to put Lazarus to death also, because on account of him, many of the Jews went away and believed in Jesus. So people want to see Lazarus as well. Hey, Lazarus was dead last week. Like, and I'm hearing that he was raised from the dead. So we want to see Lazarus to like is that real? Did that really happen? So people are trying to get a view of Lazarus. Here we go. The triumphal entry, one of the best parts in the Bible. The next day, a great multitude that had come to the feast, when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, took branches of palm trees and went out to meet him and cried out, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, the King of Israel. Jesus goes public knowing that he's walking into his own death. All right. But he's making a grand triumphal entry. He's walking into Jerusalem. Then Jesus, when he had found a young donkey, sat on it, as it is written. All right. The prophecy is, fear not, daughter of Zion. Behold, your king is coming, sitting on a donkey colt. All right. His disciples did not understand these things first, but when Jesus was glorified, Then they remembered that these things were written about him and that they had done these things to him. Therefore, the people who were with him when he called Lazarus out of the tomb and raised him from the dead bore witness. For this reason, the people also met him because they heard that he had done the signs. Pharisees, therefore, said among themselves, "You see that you are accomplishing nothing. Look, the world has gone after him." Now there were certain Greeks among those who came up to worship at the feast. Then they came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida and Galilee, and asked him, saying, "Sir, we wish to see Jesus." All right, so these Greeks want to see Jesus. Philip came and told Andrew, and in turn, Andrew and Philip told Jesus. But Jesus answered them and saying, "The hour has come that the Son of Man should be glorified. Well, surely I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it produces much grain. He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in his world will keep it for eternal life. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my servants will also be. If anyone serves me, him my Father will honor. Serve Jesus, and the Father will honor you. All right, serve Jesus. Now my soul is troubled. What shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this purpose I came to this hour. Father, glorify your name. Then the voice came from heaven saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. So God talks. All right. God says, God literally speaks. All right. People hear it. I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. Thank you very much for being on. All right. I think I'm going to leave it at that. That is huge. Jesus answered and said, the voice did not come because of me, but for your sake. Now is the judgment of the world. Now the ruler of the world will be cast out. And I, if I am lifted up from the earth, will draw all people to myself. All right. Thank you very much for being on. I am going to leave it at that. John, I believe I read chapter 9 through 12. Was it 9 through 12? Chapter 9. Yep, I read chapter 9 through 12. All right. Thank you very much for being on. God bless you. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sally King. Good. Thank you very much for being on. All right. God bless you. God bless you. All right.